I thought I knew everything about Scooby Doo. The shows, the spin-offs, movies, games. I thought I knew it all. But recently, I have heard of a Scooby Doo spin-off that I have never heard of before. Shaggy and Scooby Doo Get a Clue. The show's art style alone was enough to pique my curiosity. Apparently, this show aired just after What's New Scooby Doo and before Scooby Doo Mystery Incorporated, which made me wonder why I've never heard of it before, even more considering that I was a huge fan of both those shows. Who knows? Maybe this show is some lost and underrated gem of the late 2000s. I'm willing to give this show a fair shot, so let's see if the show rewards me for doing so. This is Shaggy and Scooby Doo Get a Clue. Before we start this review, I'd like to discuss some interesting things about the show's development. For starters, it's obvious that the show has a massive art style change from the traditional Hanna-Barbera style. And while it's safe to say that it's definitely a downgrade, what's interesting is that when designing this show, the designers wanted the characters to look like animated versions of the live-action counterparts, and I have 3 problems with this. 1. I don't get why they were trying to draw inspiration from the live-action movies when the show's plot has nothing to do at all with them. 2. If you're taking inspiration from the live-action movies, then why not get the actors from those movies to voice the characters? That's a topic I'll get to later, but my third and perhaps biggest problem is, they look nothing like their movie counterparts. They gave the show a very unappealing art style, and still failed to do what they set out to do in the first place. But trust me, the art style of the show is the least of our problems. The second thing I wanted to talk about is the show's intro. I hold no reserves when saying that it's god-awful, but the thing is, it's a special kind of bad. Not so bad that it's good, but it's so bad that I have trouble describing what's so terrible about it. The best way I can dissect this is by comparing it to the What's New Scooby Doo theme song. Both songs have that very 2000s feel to it. But right after hearing both songs, you can tell that one does so right and what the other does so wrong. What's New Scooby Doo is a great theme due to how it's organized. It has catchy lyrics, a nice theme, and a singer that has the proper direction to take the song in. Shaggy and Scooby Doo Get a Clue's theme, on the other hand, is the exact opposite. The lyrics are bland, the theme is just a jumbled mess, and the singer has no proper direction to take the song in. It's a complete mess of an intro that just feels like you're getting your head bashed in by a guitar for a full minute. But you know what? I can safely say that the theme song fits perfectly for the show we are about to experience. Now, the show starts with Shaggy and Scooby-Doo down on their luck, when Shaggy gets a call about his uncle, Albert, who has gone missing.
We're billionaires! Billionaires, Scoob!
In his absence, Uncle Albert left his entire fortune in Shaggy's name, and yes, that's Shaggy's voice. At first, when I was watching this episode, I thought that the uploader had pitched the video's audio in order to avoid copyright claims. So, I looked up a clip on the official Boomerang YouTube page, and lo and behold, that's Shaggy's voice.
My uncle left us one of those too!
Now, a lot of people may think that this was around the time that Shaggy's original voice actor had retired the character and let other voice actors fill in the role. But after doing some research, I discovered that Uncle Albert is actually voiced by Casey Kasem, the original voice actor for Shaggy. So, why they didn't let him voice Shaggy is beyond me. What bothers me more than that is why they didn't let Matthew Lillard voice Shaggy in this series. Matthew Lillard was the actor who played Shaggy in the live-action films, and he even went on to carry the mantle as the voice of Shaggy from Scooby Doo Mystery Incorporated and onward. So if they were basing the characters off the live-action movies, then wouldn't it make sense to get the actor to do the voice of Shaggy? That isn't to say that the voice actor for Shaggy in the show is doing a bad job. Heck, the voice does sound similar to Shaggy's, it's just way too high-pitched. And it can get very distracting for people who have gotten so used to the traditional voice. And while I would love to talk more about this, I'm borderline stalling this review right now, so let's get back into it. Now, the plot of this show is really great, in theory. Shaggy now has inherited a massive fortune and owns a large mansion while his rich uncle has disappeared under mysterious circumstances. This plot is so gifted. You can see the bow it can be wrapped in. You now have Shaggy and Scooby in a new scenario. They own a large and mysterious mansion, and Shaggy's rich uncle has gone missing under mysterious circumstances, so you now have a situation with plenty of possibilities to exploit. And you have a large mystery that not only fits perfectly as a Scooby Doo mystery, but it naturally ties itself into making Shaggy and Scooby billionaires. So how could you possibly screw up a plot this perfectly gift-wrapped? You just don't give a crap. And I don't mean your average not giving a crap. No, I mean a level of not giving a crap so powerful it's immeasurable. So I figured that the show wouldn't use its setup creatively. But I didn't expect it at this degree. Shaggy and Scooby Doo waste no time moving into their new mansion, and the first thing they do is sit on the couch and watch some good old TV. So far, so good. And Shaggy finds a remote that leads into his uncle's secret lab. They discover a note under the table that has a password to his uncle's supercomputer. His uncle left him a message saying how he's on the run from some dangerous people, and then Shaggy and Scooby Doo make some hot dog tacos. You might be thinking, that I just really half-baked my script there summarizing those events, but no. I put way more effort into summarizing the show's plot than the show did itself. Just look at how much the show cares about its own plot.
I think I found the TV remote. Whoa! Scoob, it's my Uncle Albert's secret lab. Hey, Scoob, look at this. It's from Uncle Albert. Uncle Albert recently discovered a new super top secret invention. All we have to do now is print out a recipe for hot dog tacos.
Let's analyze this real quick. So Shaggy accidentally stumbles onto his uncle's secret lab that he never knew anything about. Found a top secret letter from his uncle hidden under the supercomputer in his top secret lab that Shaggy never knew about. And we find out about his uncle going into hiding because some dangerous people were after him and his new secret invention. Out of all the things that don't make sense, what bothers me the most is why the uncle gave his fortune to Shaggy and entrusted him with hiding his secret invention. You have just made your nephew a massive target to all of those people who were after you. That's just a big dick move on the uncle's part. But this does lead to a kind of funny moment. The uncle says that Shaggy will have to use his detective skills to find the formula for his secret invention to keep it safe. And Shaggy ends up finding the formula for the invention in the refrigerator. I'll give the episode a point for that, but this is when the show starts getting really weird as we are introduced to the show's villain. Normally, I love the over-exaggerated villain characters, but this one just doesn't do it for me. Like a lot of things in the show, he just feels very half-baked. Like they wanted to do some funny stuff with him, but lacked the effort needed to make him funny. I mean, their best joke with them is the fact that he's bald, and that's their grade A material. Anyways, Dr. Phoebes is in search of Uncle Albert's nanotechnology, which he claims will make him an immortal god. So he sends 2 of his agents to the mansion to find and steal the formula. And if you thought bald jokes were hysterical, then get a load of their top material.
Here we are, surveilling the residence.
Want to be agent number 2? You might as well call me Agent Poopy Pants.
Break it down on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3!
We then cut back to Shaggy and Scooby, who are making Scooby snacks out of the formula they found in the fridge. When Shaggy kinda has to remind us that the show has an overarching plot, because screw Mystery Incorporated with its subtle overarching story or evolving characters. No, the plot I want to get invested in is the one that the writers didn't even give a crap about. So the agents break into the house and start hunting down Shaggy and Scooby. Well, they're dead. Nah, they survive and capture Shaggy and Scooby. They take them back to the submarine where Dr. Phoebes demands the formula. Shaggy gives him the recipe for hot dog tacos, and they get locked up in the basilisk's chamber. With death approaching, they decide to eat the Scooby snacks they had made earlier, but find out that they were made of metal. How they didn't even notice until now is a mystery to me, but we're so close to the end, I just don't care anymore. Shaggy realizes that the Scooby snack formula was actually Uncle Albert's secret invention all along. But we should be calling them the plot device snacks, as they have the ability to change Scooby into pretty much anything. There's no set rules or anything about how the transformations work. They just turn Scooby into whatever the plot needs him to be. And in this case, the Scooby snacks turn Scooby invisible, allowing them to escape, with the submarine getting eaten by a giant whale. Man, this is a weird experience, but it's not over yet, as Shaggy has to retell his story to the other members of the mystery gang who never really show up for the rest of the series. They make a few cameo appearances, but they just kinda disappear for the rest of the show. You would think that a billionaire gone missing would be right up Mystery Incorporated's alley, but no. They pretty much tell Shaggy and Scooby to handle this mess by themselves. And that was Shaggy and Scooby Doo Get a Clue. And God, it was a slog to get through. I know that I said The Amazing Spies was the most painful script I had to write, but this just blows away by comparison. This show was just terrible, and not in a fun way. On paper, this show had a great plot, but it was executed so poorly. And this show would have turned itself around by making its plot so ridiculous that it ends up being a lot of fun, but they don't go far enough to make it fun. It just felt so incredibly half-baked, which is a real shame. If anything, the only thing I can thank this show for is teaching Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated what not to do. Overall, I can see why the show has just become so forgotten, and it's best left forgotten. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this review. Be sure to like and subscribe to help support future content on this channel, and be sure to check out the Nitro Reviews Patreon to stay up to date with future projects. And I'll see you guys in the next video.